To IG Sports Locked Out, we were relegated to being locked out today. The studio was in session because apparently some dogs are here. So, Ben, pleasure to have you in the Locked Out studios. Detroit hosting Dallas. The Dez Bryant animated series. Going into this game, it was all about who's better, Dez Bryant or Calvin Johnson. Dez obviously said he could do anything that Calvin Johnson could do. Did he prove that to you, Ben Mankiewicz? And then we'll get into our recap of the game.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a real conversation who's better, Calvin Johnson or Dez Bryant. Nobody serious has that conversation. It's a silly sports conversation. Calvin Johnson's the best receiver in football. There's no other part of that argument. Dez Bryant and A.J. Green and Brandon Marshall, those guys are also great receivers. They're not as good as Calvin Johnson. I don't know why they need to be.
Okay, so getting into our recap of the game, Matthew Stafford went 4 of 5, I believe 79 yards and a touchdown on the last drive. But that throw to Calvin Johnson was awesome. But I believe you brought up off air the throw right before that to his college roommate was arguably better than the Calvin Johnson throw and catch to the 1 yard line.
The throw to Durham was such a just great throw. I mean, it was like a ball that couldn't be dropped. It was, I don't know, what did they pick up, 40 yards on that
play?
Like
Devon Best wouldn't have dropped it, is what you're saying.
And, that's the thing. He has such great hands, and he had such
His
a bad...
big hands.
And he just had a terrible day.
Yeah.
With a key fumble and that last drop on him. It was a great throw from Jason Campbell. That's another game. We'll get to that game. But that throw to Durham, man, it was so good. It was across the field. And it was pretty, too. It was just arcing, and it was a perfect spiral, and it hit him in stride. And again, it was like you couldn't help but catch it. It was like land.
Fell right in his lap.
Just fell in his hands. He didn't have to change his stride or do anything. How the Cowboys let him get that open in that situation is a little puzzling. They seem to have 3 guys around him, but on the next play, Calvin Johnson appeared to be single covered. Like, I'm not an NFL defensive coordinator. There's no way I could be as good at that job as Monty Kiffin. But, why wouldn't you? You saw it. You see teams do it to the Bears, to Brandon Marshall, especially around the goal line. And you saw teams doing it effectively 2 weeks ago to Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
What's wrong with just having 2 guys right there, and they hit him, and they hit him again, and then he can't get open, and then you make him throw to Nate Burleson, who I know is hurt, but make him throw to Ryan Broyles. You make him throw to Durham, the kid that caught the pass. I'm puzzled by it. I don't understand it. I didn't, for years and years and years, Jerry Rice would break off the line of scrimmage, would run 17 yards downfield, would not make a move, would turn around, would receive the pass from Joe Montana or Steve Young, and you'd be like, did you not talk about this guy?
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I don't get it, and I didn't get it yesterday.
So
although the pass to Calvin Johnson to take him down to the 1 was a great throw.
Defensive backs have a 5-yard buffer where they could sort of push him off the line.
Yeah.
One would think that they would maybe,
hit
him
twice. Have one guy hit him in, have one guy hit him out, and then all of a sudden a second and a half is run off, and he's not in his pattern.
Totally.
He set an NFL record. Like Flipper Anderson still has the record, but he needed overtime to do it. This was the best receiving game in NFL history.
In regulation.
I would have been on him.
Yeah. So Matthew Stafford, by the way, going down. I know that you're very good at this. I believe you did this morning as well. But he goes down to the line, and what does he say to his team? What did he do exactly?
Well, he was spazzing out, but in the right way.
Yeah.
First he was telling the guys to get, come on, and he's like, and it was the time to spike. I mean, the fake spike has come into play lately in the NFL ever since Marino did it. I think against the Jets. But
Peyton Manning's done it as well.
Peyton Manning's done it, but Marino was the first that most of us can ever remember doing it. But this team seemed like a team that had sprinted 80 yards that needed to spike it and reset. And clearly Stafford saw something and went over the top because the Cowboys were just standing there. The linebackers were standing there. Clearly, but the reaction of the Lions, they did not know that was coming.
Right.
So,
all right, we're going to stop the recording because the camera's about to die because it's raining. So we're going to go inside. Resuming our talk, we are now locked in, of course, at YouTube Space Los Angeles. The rain has forced us to come back inside. So, Ben, we were talking about Matthew Stafford and how he has this sort of undermined football IQ, because we usually called him, we both did, let's be honest, one of the dumbest quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, suddenly, his last play, reaching over the pylon, and rushing for a touchdown, you could say, that was a pretty damn smart play, if I must say.
Yeah, the receivers didn't know he was going to do it.
Cowboys defensive line didn't know.
Cowboys defensive line and linebackers didn't know. Their DBs certainly didn't know. You could tell by the way everybody reacted. I don't think Matthew Stafford is one of the dumber quarterbacks. I think he plays for one of the dumber coaches, and he looks dumb. Like, he looks like...
Stafford looks dumb or Schwartz?
Yeah, Stafford has a kind of a look on his face, but I don't know whether he's... It would appear he's... Wow. It would appear he's smart. No, that was always been my point about Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like the brightest guy, but he may well be. I don't know Matthew Stafford.
Right.
And that was a very heady play to win that game because, of course, as great as that was, if they drive downfield to the inside the one after the great pass to Johnson and spike it, there's going to be 12 seconds left. That's what was left at the end of that play. The spike takes about the same amount of time. So there's 12 or 11 seconds left. That'll give him 3 cracks from there, assuming they're all passes. They could run on the
3 fade routes to Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, but 3 slants, whatever. I mean, no. By the way, there's not an announcer in the country that would recognize that as 3 plays. They would like, 11 seconds. You got maybe 1, maybe 2 plays. It's like these guys have never seen a game before. Every week, it's like they've never seen a game before. You run the first play, and there's 7 seconds left. You run the second play, and there's 3 seconds left. You run the final play. You could run on the third one. They might not have scored. Mm-hmm. And, of course, it's the Lions. False start, right? Moving back to the 6.
Holding penalty,
right? Any number of things. You know, some dumb unsportsmanlike.
Chop block, who knows?
Chop block, face mask, because they yanked Sean Lee's mask.
Yeah.
So it was a great play. You got to get that touchdown. As we know, that last yard in the NFL can be pretty tough. It was a great play by Matt Stafford.